What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. As always, I'd like to remind you guys, if you want to donate to my channel, if you want to show love to my channel, if you want to contribute to my channel, you can do so in the links provided in the description box below. Now, of course, the big news, the breaking news is that Russell Westbrook is no longer a member of the Oklahoma City Thunder. The last remaining link between the Big Three era of Durant, Westbrook, and Harden, Ibaka, Cephalosha, that whole era is no longer, it's over. Russell Westbrook is gone. He's now a member of the Houston Rockets, and he's now reunited with James Harden. And reportedly, James Harden pushed for this trade. So that quells this notion that nobody wants to play. The media puts out there that nobody wants to play Russell Westbrook. Apparently, Jimmy Butler wanted Westbrook in Miami, and I think Blake Griffin wanted to play with Russell Westbrook in Detroit. So I don't think it's that everybody didn't want to play with him. So it is what it is. But now, of course, he was traded for Chris Paul, and there are a couple of first round picks. I'm gonna tell you something. Oklahoma City Thunder, if they draft correctly, they're set. Potentially, they're going to be an awesome franchise to root for in the near future. But as far as the Houston Rockets are concerned, this has potential written all over it, and it also has potential for disaster written all over it. Now, of course, the Chris Paul, James Harden experiment did not work. Apparently, there was clashing between Chris Paul and James Harden about the play style. Chris Paul thought the ball should be distributed more throughout, and we saw evidence as to why that should have been the case. There are many times when James Harden was not playing or he wasn't on the court, and Chris Paul was the general out there, and oftentimes the team just looked better. Guys were playing more. The offense just looked more fluid. Guys were giving more effort out there, more energized. They weren't just standing around watching one guy do everything. But at the same time, James Harden has a case for why his style was better, because at one point in time, the Rockets were 11-14, and James Harden went on that personal run. We had 32 consecutive games, was it, with 30 points or more, and all of a sudden, they go from out of the playoffs to, or hypothetically out of the playoffs, to being like third or fourth in the conference, all behind James Harden putting up damn near 40 points per game. So, they both had points about it, but ultimately, this is James Harden team. He's a younger player. Chris Paul is on the downside of his career, and nature took its course. The Houston Rockets traded Chris Paul. So Chris Paul is in a sunken place right now in OKC. I don't know how long he's going to be there, because I can't see him playing there. No, sir. Now, can this work? It can. But one thing has to change, in my opinion. First of all, this Mike D'Antoni shit is not going to work. His system is just not going to work. It's not. To me, I think he's the biggest problem. I think what's going to happen, they're going to be working under the D'Antoni system. It's not going to work. It's not going to look good. They're going to be a team that's nearly 500, and And I think sometime in December, DAntoni's going to get fired. That's my guess. I think after D'Antoni is fired, a real coach is going to come in, and he's going to figure out how to get these two guys to play well together. And they should know how to play well together. They, of course, were teammates in OKC. They have chemistry with one another. The thing about it is, it's a different situation. In that situation, James Harden was coming off the bench, and Russell Westbrook was the young, dynamic point guard along with Kevin Durant. They were going to dominate the NBA, at least the Western Conference, for years to come. The Lakers were just about done with their run at the time, and nobody saw the Golden State Warriors coming. San Antonio was still out there, but still, they were the team of the future. And then all of a sudden, the Golden State Warriors came out of nowhere. But this is unquestionably James Harden's team. Russell Westbrook, in my opinion, has to defer to that. I think right now, people are looking for Russell Westbrook to fail. Okay? A lot of people in the media want him to fail because Russell Westbrook is just, people say that he's the guy that people can't win with, which I don't agree with. Russell Westbrook was playing with Paul George last year, and when Paul George was healthy, Paul George was not only an MVP caliber candidate uh, as far as being a basketball player, but he was also a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. So you can be successful playing with a guy like Russell Westbrook. The key is this, though. You got two ball dominant guys. Last year, James Harden had a usage rating that exceeded 40. Now, like when you have a usage rating that high, that's when you're getting into like Wilt Chamberlain, Philadelphia Warriors years type ball dominance. You know what I'm saying? Russell Westbrook in his years has had usage rating getting to that level, like in the mid to upper 30 percentile as far as usage rating. So you have these guys who dominate the ball so much. So how is this going to work? Well, essentially, you do have two guys. It's the same. It's a similar situation to with Chris Paul, but it's different. You have two guys who are essentially both point guards and shooting guards. Um, James Harden is not a great defensive player, to say the least. Russell Westbrook is an above average to very good defensive player. Um, Although sometimes he can be laxed in that department because he's worried about certain things. I'll just put it like that. I'm not oblivious to the criticism. I see some of the shit Russell does. I think it gets overblown, but yeah, sometimes he laxes to crash the boards. Yeah, I see it. Okay. Um, my thing is someone has to defer in this situation. Someone has to defer. Um, I think it should be both guys. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, maybe they should consider James Harden playing more point guard. You know what I'm saying? He seems to be most effective when he has the ball in his hands. Maybe Russell Westbrook should play more off the ball. Um, Russell's not a great three-point shooter. Russell's better to me when he penetrates and sticks more to his pull-up mid-range jumper. When Russell's playing like that, that's when I think he's more effective offensively. Um, the years of getting triple doubles and all of that and leading the league in triple doubles, that probably was going to come to an end playing with the Rockets. It's just the offense is not going to be built around Russell, so that's probably not going to happen. And I'm kind of glad to an extent that that's going to be the case because I get kind of tired of people all of a sudden acting like a triple double doesn't mean anything. At first, a triple double was a great achievement when LeBron James was doing it. Then, when Russell was exceeding LeBron James in frequency as far as achieving um that milestone, all of a sudden it became overrated and meaningless. And now all of a sudden, because Russell's not averaging it anymore, now all of a sudden, if LeBron James happens to do it in LA next year, now all of a sudden it's going to be an amazing feat. I'm waiting on that. I'm waiting to see if somehow LeBron averages a triple double next year, and now all of a sudden guys like Colin Cowherd change their tune about it because I'm gonna light them motherfuckers up about their hypocrisy. But I mean, this could work, and it may not work. Maybe it's not enough basketballs to go around with both of the guys, but I'm leaning toward it's going to work. They have chemistry. They have a history with each other. I think it's going to work. Okay. Um, I think they still have C.J. Tucker. I think they still have Eric Gordon, Clint Capella, who I don't really like that much, but you know they still essentially have the same team that just swapped Westbrook, who's younger and more dynamic point guard, over um, Chris Paul. So this should work. This should work. They'll figure it out. Um, as far as expectations for next year, I don't know. Like I said, I have a feeling they're going to start off slow because I really think the problem is Mike D'Antoni. I think he's a horrible coach. I think he's better off as an assistant coach that focuses on offense. I don't think he's a great starting Jesus. I don't think he's a great head coach. I think he'd be a great coach that focuses on offense. Like as far as assistant coach or something, I think he's suited for that. Um, but I think D'Antoni's going to get fired next year sometime because, like I said, his system just does not work. Um, it just doesn't work, and I think Daryl Morley is losing his patience. And I think, like I said, if this doesn't work out initially, like after 20 games or so, they're struggling. Expect D'Antoni to be terminated, and then I think they're gonna figure out how to have these guys. You know, they're gonna figure out how this is gonna work between these two guys, and I think they'll figure something out. And I think they're gonna finish the season strong, barring injury. I just have this feeling, from just watching basketball. I think that's how this is going to play out this year. They're going to start off like 500 or something, and there's people going to be shitting all over James over Russell Westbrook. He can't win, blah blah blah. When in reality, it's just the system sucks. And then they're going to fire D'Antoni, and then the Rockets are going to slowly figure it out. And I think they're going to finish with 50 something wins, like 51-31 or something like that. They're going to finish strong, and I think they're going to make a pretty good playoff run. I don't think they're going to go to the finals or anything like that, but I think they're going to. I'll play this. Russell Westbrook's going to get out of the first round. That in itself is going to be an accomplishment. And I understand the microscope is going to be on Russell this year. People think that he's a guy that people can't be successful around. You know, people are going to look at to see if he makes his teammates better, whatever that means. And we'll see. You know what I'm saying? But Tell me what you guys think, man, about this trade.